Hello food fans, welcome to my top 10 current WWE/NXT Divas. Now originally this was only going to be WWE Divas, but then I realised there was only 12, so if I wanted to make a top 10 out of 12 I'd have to put a few on the list which really I feel don't deserve it. So I was thinking about cutting it down to 5, and then I thought the video would be too short. So eventually I decided to add the NXT Divas as well. Now these are the current Divas, so they have to be on either the WWE Superstar list or the NXT Superstar list. Also, these are in-ring competitors, so you won't see anyone like Lana or Stephanie McMahon on this list. They'll be for a list another day, assuming I can find enough people to fill that list. And again, this is my personal opinion, so if you don't agree with me, just let me know your top 10 Divas list in the comments below. So let's begin. Number 10. Tamina. Now what does this show you about the level of the Divas division? That my number 10 choice is someone that barely competes, and the last match she was in that I remember watching was pretty damn terrible, and that was the one against Brie Bella. It was awful. I personally believe she's starting to lose the passion for it because she's so underused. But when she first joined the WWE, she was brilliant. She has a look that is very unlike the rest of the WWE Divas. She's in a good role for her. She's a bodyguard. I think protecting Naomi is a good spot for her, but I do feel like she needs to get in the ring a bit more and actually work again. She's getting more of a chance to work now that they're having a bit of a program against the Bellas. Yeah, it's dying down again and Paige is replacing them, but we'll see how this evolves. Number 9. Emma. Now, on NXT, Emma has recently turned heel because her run on WWE seems to have failed, and I think the gimmick that they tried on WWE, where she was kind of quirky and doing the dance with the arms, it kind of didn't fit with the WWE. It was kind of a bit jarring. I'm not saying she's bad in the ring, she's actually pretty damn good in the ring, but that gimmick I don't think works on the main show. But now she's gone to NXT and she's become heel, she's kind of dropped the dance, and it's kind of, she's working a lot better as a heel in my opinion. The only problem I have against her is now she's heel and she's dropping the quirky dance and everything, but she's still got the old entrance music, and I just feel like it doesn't fit her character anymore. I personally feel like they should change her music, and but then continuously build upon her in NXT. But I do feel like NXT is the best place for her at the present time. Number 8. Naomi. Now I'm loving Naomi's new look. She actually looks like she could give someone a proper beatdown, like proper with the leather jacket, and especially with Tamina by her side. And I think sticking them two together was a good move because it helps Tamina and it also gives Naomi back up to work on her heel persona. And even though she looks like she's gonna get ready to give someone a beatdown with the new look, she does have those new boots with the bright colours around that flash up, and I actually like them. Yeah, they kind of don't quite fit, but it's kind of a twist on it. It makes her stand out. Yeah, she looks like she's about to beat you up, but she's got these glow-in-the-dark boot things. I look at them and I think they shouldn't work, but they do. I don't understand why, but I like them. One big problem I have with Naomi is a problem that a lot of people have with Naomi, and I've said it before in my prediction videos, but knocking someone over with your backside does not a finisher make. It just looks like something that it wouldn't finish someone. If she adjusted it so that as she knocked them down with the pushback of the butt, and then as she landed on their chest, so it would kind of wind them as she lands, that could work. It wouldn't be the best finisher ever, but it would make some sort of sense that it would knock them out rather than just push them over. but I've always felt like her finisher should be the DDT with the legs that she does sometimes. She doesn't do it very often, but it does look brutal when she does it. Maybe that's the WWE saying don't do it because it looks too brutal, but I feel that should be her finisher instead of the rear end, because the rear end just is a bit of a joke, especially with her new aggressive persona. It just looks like, what's that gonna do? Don't get me wrong, she could use the move, but as a finisher to end the match, I don't think it works. But she is really good in the ring. She's very aggressive, and I believe that she works. She just needs to tweak that freaking move. Number 7. Bayley. Now when it comes to Bayley, I really like her overly cute sort of, yeah, I can do this persona, and Bayley's gonna hug you and all of that stuff works for her. I think it was the right gimmick for the right person, because I think if you tried to put that on just anyone, I don't think it would work as well. But Bayley pulls it off, and she seems like she'd be a very good inspiration, especially for young girls. I could see that young girls that watch WWE or NXT would see her and fall in love with her instantly. But I also like the fact that she is overly cute, but when she's wrestling in the ring, she brings it. She doesn't rely on the over cuteness, and she doesn't put herself into a comedy gimmick role. Like, it would be so easy to do with that gimmick. She actually tries her hardest, and she's the underdog, but she pushes herself as much as she can. I do have to question how well the gimmick would work on the main show though. It works spectacularly on NXT, but I fear that with the one diva match per show and very short amount of time, that a gimmick such as Bayley's could easily get lost in the mix. I think if they had a couple of diva matches, it might work, and she may then be able to get foot in to try and build herself up to finally win the Divas Championship, which I think the pink belt would work for someone like Bayley, where usually it's a bit too, look, it's a girly where they're supposed to be fighters. Bayley I think it would work for, but I think if they just say, right, we have one diva match on this show, Bayley's just going to get lost underneath the rest of the diva roster. So I believe personally, as much as I don't want to say this because I really like Bayley, the best place for her is NXT, where she can work her ass off and actually get somewhere near the top of diva roster. That being said, I have a similar problem with Bayley as Naomi. Yes, it's very clever that her finisher is the Bayley to Bayley, a play on the belly to belly, but the belly to belly suplex isn't really a very good finishing maneuver. I again feel like you could tweak it a little bit, like if you did a belly to belly off the top rope, or maybe the middle rope because it's easier to climb up that way, then it could be more efficient because the impact would be a bit harder, so it looks like it could actually finish the match, where right now she just picks her up, tosses them over, and then somehow that is enough to take out these really tough women, and it just looks a bit, really, but a little bit of a tweak here and there, it'd be brilliant. Number 6.
You can look, but you can't touch. You keep dreaming on the stars above.
Nikki Bella. Now, when it comes to Nikki Bella, she has improved significantly in the ring. She used to be as bad as her sister, but now she's developed a style of her own. It's a bit more tough, a bit more violent, and it works. And unlike most of the other divas, I think she has a really good finishing move, especially where she sets it up with the elbow and then she hits the rack attack. Yeah, the name's a bit lame, but I would prefer a lame name than a really clever name, but it's a very low impact finishing move and it supposedly takes them out. I prefer the rack attack and actually looks like it's going to do some damage. I do believe in the theory that Nikki Bella is going to retain the Divas Championship until she beats AJ Lee's record, but I do feel like maybe she's not the best person to do it, because I think that her career is going to come to an end soon, because she's been in the WWE for 8 years, and 8 years seems to be the time when most divas retire. So I think that giving it to Nikki to do is only going to end up in, okay, I've lost the Divas Championship, I've lost my rematch, I retire, oh crap, now we've got to do it all again. I'm not saying she can't go much longer, but it's just the way the pattern seems to occur. But one thing I really get pissed off at with Nikki Bella, and it's the Bella twins together, it's not just Nikki, is how often they turn. 1 minute they're heels, then they're baby faces, and then they're heels again, and then wait, no, they're baby faces, and now they're heels. They seem to be the diva equivalent of the Big Show, where they just can't make up their minds. Do they want to be cheered or do they want to be booed? And I know that the Divas roster on the main show is very, very heel heavy. There's only, I think I counted 4 baby faces, but I personally feel like these two should stay heel, because together it's a lot easier for them to become heel and become hated and cheat to win than it is to become liked, especially with how bad Brie is. And if they're going to stay together, then I think both being heel, especially with Nikki's rough ways as well, is the best path for them. Number 5. Sasha Banks. Yes, we go from Divas Champion to the NXT Women's Champion. And I definitely like the fact that they had the Women's Champion and not the Divas Champion, because it just shows you about the way the attitude is towards the women in NXT over the Divas of the WWE. Now when it comes to Sasha Banks, she is brilliant in the ring. She's aggressive where she needs to be, and she's very technical when she needs to be. She's pretty much I can do it all sort of woman. But, and this statement is going to shock people as she's my number 5, but let me continue afterwards, I don't like her. But I don't like her in a good way. She's a heel, so I'm not supposed to like her. No one's supposed to like her. But she's good enough in the ring that she can pull that across. I think the reason why I don't like her is because just looking at her, I know she's American, but just looking at her and the way she acts and the way she talks, she kind of reminds me of a Romford girl, and that kind of puts me off in a way that I don't like her. But of course then I want to see her get beat. It's a I want to see her get beat sort of dislike. It's not a I don't want to see her at all. So I really like Sasha Banks in the way I don't like her, if that makes any sort of sense to you. Basically, to put it in layman's terms, she is perfect for the role she's in. She's a villain and she gets booed, in my opinion. I know people cheer her up, but that's because she's so good in the ring. But in my eyes, she's a brilliant heel. Number 4. Becky Lynch. Now when it comes to Becky Lynch, on my personal list, I fully admit I probably shouldn't put her so high, as I've only really seen 2 of her matches. I don't watch NXT nearly as much as I watch the WWE, so I don't watch quite so many of the Divas matches either. But within 2 matches, Becky Lynch stood out straight away. I will admit these were the 2 special event shows, where it was the Fatal 4-Way and in the Women's Championship match. But just within those 2 matches, she caught my attention, and I just thought she was amazing for the character. I want to see her in the WWE as soon as possible. And one thing that makes her even better is her brand new look. The new steampunk look with the steampunk goggles and the long trench coat. Yeah, I have a weak spot for trench coats, but she looks completely different to anyone else. I don't even remember seeing any men in the steampunk sort of style. She stands out in the bright orange hair. You will not forget her. And then when she comes out headbanging, it just adds to it. And she's not exactly the worst in the ring either. She's brilliant in the ring. I do think that Becky Lynch is going to go really far. And saying that after 2 matches, I really don't think I've ever said that before. I've said that I don't see people going very far after 2 matches, but I do believe, even if you give it a couple of years, that she will be the champion at some point. Number 3. Natalya. Now, it blows my mind that the WWE don't use Natty a hell of a lot more than they actually do. Yeah, she's on Total Divas, but she belongs in a wrestling ring. She's a heart, damn it. She can out wrestle most of the women in the locker room, if not all of them. And right now, all she's really doing is accompanying Tyson Kidd and Cesaro to the ring. And now that Tyson Kidd is injured, it wouldn't surprise me if we don't see her on TV for about a year, with the exception of maybe some, she's in the background segments and she's just like going, yeah, yeah, or maybe partying when they have the stupid party segments. But the point being is, she belongs in that ring. She's a heart. She could probably out-wrestle a load of the guys as well. And I think if you bring up my number 2 choice, she could have a brilliant program with Natty, and it could go on for ages and no one gets bored of it. It's just, why aren't you doing it? It just makes no sense to me. But speaking of my number 2 pick, number 2. Charlotte. Again, Charlotte belongs on the main roster. It is a bit scary taking her away from NXT, because I think that if you take Charlotte out of NXT, the NXT Divas division takes a massive blow. But I do feel like it's a hell of a lot more important that you put all this, your A material, on the main show, because that's the one that most people see. You want good stuff on NXT because you want people to buy the network, but you want to put your top stuff on Monday Night Raw to make people want to buy the network. If Monday Night Raw is pretty bad, then it doesn't matter about NXT. Why would I want to watch that if it's not that great on Raw? Because it's just more of the same. Ignoring the fact it isn't, because NXT is so much more. Or it's like, it's more on a smaller scale, and it's people like Charlotte that brings that to NXT. If they brought that to Raw, it would only be good. So what if she's not a typical supermodel? She doesn't look like a supermodel, but she isn't exactly hideous. She looks fine. It's about time the WWE stops looking at these women as purely looks and starts looking at what they can do in the ring, because that is what will bring people to watch your program, and not just, ooh, look, pretty lady. Because I've said it before, if I want to see nothing but pretty ladies, there's plenty of porn on the internet. If you don't watch NXT at all, Charlotte and the rest of the women's division on NXT is the reason to do so. Yeah, there are people like Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe, but they'd fit quite easily on the Monday Night Raw, and no one would blink an eyelid and nothing would change. But the women, if they come up, they would change nearly everything, and they'd have to make it more seriously, or they would just kill them, and then they would end up going to TNA, because the one thing TNA has over Monday Night Raw is their women's division. But Charlotte belongs on Raw. Damn it, she's a flare. Why isn't she there? It just makes no sense at all. It hurts my head that she's not. Put her on Monday Night Raw. And finally, number 1. Paige. Now, what can't you say about Paige? She's got the look, she looks different, she stands out, She's brilliant in the ring. She has a couple of pretty damn good finishers. She can play the underdog, or she can also play the overly aggressive. She is one of the most diverse characters the WWE has. She can pretty much be placed in any single situation you want. But another thing I like about Paige is a subtle thing, is when she comes out to the ring, she sings along to her music. It's not like an R-Truth thing where he's got the microphone and he pants as he tries to rap and it works out terrible. She's just singing to herself. And that says to me that she wants to be there and she's enjoying herself. And I don't even know if she does this consciously, but it just makes her seem more likable. So Paige is my number one, and I don't think that was really a surprise to anyone. Charlotte could probably compete with her a lot if she comes up to the main roster, but while she's down on NXT, Paige is the best diva the WWE has. Full stop. But let me know what you think. If you've enjoyed this top 10, please like, favourite and subscribe, and tell me your top 10 in the comments. Or if you have any thoughts on something I've said about someone, if you think something's unfair, or if you want to add to it, or you completely disagree, let me know in the comments below. I am the Food. Thanks for listening.